Good evening, Wanderers and Wool Gatherers, and welcome to episode 134 of Wanderings and Wool Gathering. We took a few weeks off, but we are back and we are ready to go. Tonight on the show, we're going to review the latest album from our good friend Ashton Knight. It's from his band. He does a lot of solo work, but he also has a band called The Awakening, and they've got a pretty big history. This record is called The Passage Remains. It's their 11th studio album, and we're going to give you our thoughts on that. We're going to play Who's That Band, Lester Bangs style, and we're going to just share some new music that we've been digging on the last few weeks. Tonight's episode is brought to you by the Kokomo Lantern. It's a journalistic endeavor focused upon the simple principles of illuminating the good and eliminating the shadows in our local community. Head over to kokomolantern.substack.com to sign up for all of that awesome content. Joining me tonight is none other than Mr. Metalhead Mundy.
Step inside into his mind. It's boy band time. It's
Metalhead Mundy.
Hello, hello.
We just stepped inside your mind.
I'm sorry. I apologize beforehand.
It's a little messy in there.
That's the one word for it.
And we're not alone tonight. Back by popular demand. By popular, I mean Jeremy and I wanted him back. It's T-Bags.
Swinging deep into the valleys of Liptonia.
That's nasty.
Able to plunge from high altitudes only to land with a gentle splat.
That's nasty.
Receiving only the finest education from his instructor, Earl Grey. It's T-Bags. Too hot for TV.
How's it going?
He's too hot for TV. That's why we have him on the internet.
Never gets old. Never gets old.
It really doesn't.
Some listeners going to say, yeah, it does.
No, they're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, somebody said that they missed us.
Well, how about that?
You too, pal.
Yeah, we took a couple weeks off for the holidays, kind of rest and regroup. So hopefully we're back and better than ever. Who knows?
I think so.
Well, it's hard not to be better, really. But no, it was nice to get a few weeks off and not think about, what we're listening to that week and just listen to whatever you want on a whim, because there are times when, we got a lot going on and we got to listen to whatever we're doing that week. Oh, look at this.
Hey.
Oh, hey.
It is very nice, Jeremy.
I tried. It took about an hour, which that was mostly making sure it looked sort of even, spaced out and all that. So, and I have Indiana Jones behind me. Nobody can really see that through my thick head, but.
Yeah. And then your upper right corner, you've got something really special.
That would be this one.
Yep.
This one. Yeah, I can move the camera. I don't know. I'm not very good at and it's probably got a there we go. It's from our friends Jack the Radio, their album Creatures, their last studio album they put out. Believe they are currently working on new material. So
yeah, that was their COVID material.
Yes.
And it was awesome.
Such a good album.
It is. And it came with a comic book. So Can you beat that? I think not. All right, gentlemen. Are you ready to be stumped?
Yeah, wait. Before we move on from talking about friends of the show, I couldn't help but notice your nouveau chapeau there.
Yeah, the old chapeau is Project Renegade, our good friends from Greece. They put a bunch of new merch up. I know Mundy has a shirt.
I do.
I got the hat, which I love. I love their logo. It is so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that we're going to get new music from them pretty soon. They had the one song that dropped a few months ago, and we did a quick show on that one. So I'm hoping we're going to get some more. I think they're probably working on something. So when they do, we'll definitely be doing it.
Absolutely. The shirt I got is actually design inspired by their new song, which is called Blood Witch. Pretty cool.
They are great people. So
They are.
I'm super proud to be repping their gear.
Same.
All right. I think Mundy was just trying to stall because he's afraid he's going to get stumped tonight.
Yeah. I think he's so scared he left.
Oh my gosh, he ran. He's so scared, Tony.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening on the podcast, not the visual presentation, Mundy fell off the air.
I did.
And he's
I
back.
did. Damn it. I hit my headphone cord and it pulled my phone down and it just everything went away.
That's all right. Okay, are you gentlemen ready?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. So this one, there's a few clues. I pulled out pretty much everything, but I did leave the date in because I think that's important.
Okay.
And I think that's the key for you guys. Okay. One of a handful of truly great albums with a genuine shot at claiming top spot as the best live LP of all time. Records today simply cannot have the cultural and artistic impact that this double set enjoyed after release. I took the year out and just said in the 1970s. This album is the perfect combination of a beautifully recorded album that really captures the camaraderie between consummate artist and enraptured audience and a very accessible and finely crafted music. This artist's wonderful vocal style and even more impressive guitar virtuosity, which is very much center stage as far as the album mix is concerned.
Ooh.
While I love the exceptionally well remastered CD version, this is one of those albums that has to be experienced on vinyl. Takes you right back to a much simpler time that I increasingly appreciate how fortunate I was to live through. A genuine cornerstone essential of any 70s rock collection.
I think I got it.
Oh, do you?
I think when you first started talking, my first couple sentences, I'm like, oh, it's Kiss Alive. And then you kept going. I'm like, no, it's not that. Is it Frampton Comes Alive?
Yep. Yeah. That is so good. I mean, it really was good.
Yeah. It started off sounding like Kiss Alive, but then you started talking about like, I don't know, the guitar virtuosity and the songwriting and something, and I'm like, yeah, it's not Kiss.
I didn't mention Flames or Blood.
Yeah.
No, that was and kind of like the first auto tune.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a talk
In a way.
box. Yeah.
You know what
Similar,
I mean? But people really weren't doing much of that at the time, it was kind of ahead of its time, I think.
A little bit.
And really a great
Do
album.
either of you guys have it on vinyl?
I don't.
My brother does. I almost, when I did this today, I was like, I'm going to call him, see if I can get that. And then I was like, I'm going to check eBay. It's $7.99. You can find it like for
serious?
$5 shipping. Yeah.
Okay.
And condition wise, I'm not sure, but
Like an original pressing?
yeah, there's a ton of them out there. Unless I don't have to look at them again, but they look rough. They had to have been from the 70s. So
Yeah. I mean, that sold. I don't even know how many times platinum that went, but you know, I'm sure there's a lot of them out there.
yeah, I'll have to check it. But
Speaking of eBay and stuff like that, I've been on a DVD Blu-ray buying kick because
Okay.
there's a lot of stuff like Three Amigos and things like that you can't find on streaming services. So we spent part of the day in Goodwill today, Walmart, digging through their bins. But I've been thinking of making like a retro room and just taking all of my old equipment, putting it in there with a DVD player, and then collecting these DVDs. So,
Well, hey, if you ever feel like it, let me know because I got some boxes you can go through.
absolutely, yes, I will.
If you happen to be looking for some VHS, I got some of those too.
I might, if I do it as a full-on retro room, I think I'll probably put both in there. So, we'll see.
I have plenty of both.
Okay.
all right, I got some Betamax for you.
Can't find a player very easily.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't find a player in like 85. It was gone quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So T-Bags,
Yes.
what you got new for us?
Well, I kind of went when we were texting back and forth about recommendations. I've been kind of unplugging as much as I can, so I have books to recommend.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So I don't have a ton of time to invest in a novel yet, but I want to. But a friend of mine posted a little screenshot of somebody's poetry. I went out and found her books, and I bought two. Her name's Christina Maher, or Maher, Mahr. And I'm reading It's Only Words and Tell the World I'd Hope to See It With You, which are both like kind of fantastic lost love type poetry. And then reading When You're Engulfed in Flames by David Sedaris.
Oh,
He's
nice.
hilarious.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of those ones that from the other room, my wife is wanting to know, like, what are you doing? Because I'm laughing out loud at somebody's writing, which is perfect. And so the first story, I think it is like, I mean, if you can pick it up and just read that first story, even if you're just in a bookstore and you're not going to buy it, try it. If you laugh, you got to buy it. That's my challenge.
Nice.
We're looking at getting tickets for him live.
I want to too.
His delivery is so fantastic.
Yeah, he's fun to listen to speak.
Yeah, and once you've seen him, you can't read his novels in any other voice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, or his books, but yeah. So those are mine.
Very cool.
All right. I didn't put David Sedaris up there, but Christina Maher got up there. What was the second one?
Tell the World I'd Hope to See It With You.
Tell the World. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I liked that title quite a bit.
All right. I'll go next because this was Monday's idea. We'll let him round it out.
Sure.
I had two, not really new. Well, one's not new, but one is. So a couple days ago, Peter Gabriel dropped a new song.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
First one since 2016.
Nice.
But the cool thing is this is an album he's been working on for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And so Brian Eno's on it with him.
Cool.
And I wanted to read the press release because this is what the whole thing is about. And it's really kind of clever and cool. It says the first song is based on an idea I've been working on to initiate the creation of an infinitely expandable, accessible data globe, the Panopticon. We are beginning to connect a like-minded group of people who might be able to bring this to life to allow the world to see itself better and understand more of what's really going on. And the first song is called Panopticon. And it's really good. It's very much Peter Gabriel. It's kind of that spoken word, and then he gets to the chorus, and then he does his singing, but it's undeniably him. And it's a lot of synthesizer and bells, and it's pretty cool. I like it a lot.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I have to check that out.
I didn't see the release date. I'll have to check the release date on that. But it's supposed to be this year, the rest of the album. So
Cool. Dig Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, I saw him live once. He was good. I'd see him again, I think.
Nice.
And then the next one, actually, Jeremy, is a follow-up. So remember when we did The End So Far from Slipknot?
Yep.
Neither one of us loved Acidic, which is kind of the blues number.
Okay.
It was so odd on the album to have this blues song and the rest of it. So I started listening to it again a couple of days ago, and I've listened a bunch now. If you just listen on its own, it was a great song. I think in the album, it just kind of hit weird. But if you listen again, I think it's a pretty strong song.
Okay. Yeah, that probably suffers from being a well-written, skillfully performed song on an album of songs that are very different from it.
Yep.
So it probably just gets lost in the weeds there. That's probably one that, especially a lot of Slipknot's hardcore fans, they want the heavier stuff. So that's probably one that gets skipped a lot, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't think they dug that. And then one final note, it sounds like now that their contract is over with Roadrunner Records.
Right. Yep.
That weirdo album that three of them made on the All Hope Is Gone tour is going to be released hopefully later this spring, early summer.
Seen talk of that popping up a little bit.
Yeah. So I think rushing this album out was part of getting out of that contract. So cool. There you have it.
Nice.
What you got, Monday?
So this is a very, very recent discovery for me. I know nothing about this band. I had never heard of them until like 2 days ago. I have just started going down the rabbit hole here, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I found a band called Leprous, Leprous, Leprous. And the first song I saw, it just kind of popped up, I think, in a YouTube recommends, and it was a live in studio version of a song of theirs called On Hold. And it just blew me away. It's amazing. I don't even know how to describe it. Stylistically, I think I also sent you guys a video for a song of theirs called The Silent Revelation. And our friend JPP, he said that one kind of reminded him of, how did he put it? Radiohead, but
clean,
but cleaner. Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, maybe that's why I don't really glom onto Radioheads. I want a cleaner sound or something. I don't know. But these first two songs, I'm absolutely in love with this band. So I will definitely be checking out everything I can get my hands on, and curious to know what everybody thinks about them, because I don't know. I have no idea how long they've been around. Nothing. I know nothing about them.
Well, I think Tony's going to dig it because, and I followed up on JPP's, that I think it sounds a little bit like Nothing But Thieves.
Yeah, I saw you.
It's got that vibe. So I know Tony's a fan of them.
The guy sings in falsetto a lot, but he does drop out of it. But he uses it. These first two songs that I have heard, he uses it quite a bit. But I don't know if that's a constant thing or not. But his beautiful voice, and the music is outstanding.
They're a Norwegian rock band formed in 2001.
Ooh.
Okay, they've been around a minute then.
So it's had multiple band members. Yeah, it's got like 2 guys have been with it the whole time, and then there's been a bunch of others in and out. And it looks like their albums, they have 8.
Cool. I got some work to do then.
Nice.
Their first one was 2009.
Okay.
Even though they were formed in 2001, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess they must have just been like a nightclub band for a while.
Or they just got out of prison finally. We don't know.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah. No, I'll dig in with you too, Jeremy, because I did like what you sent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even those references, Nothing But Thieves and Cleaner Radiohead, it's good company.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lead singer has been with the band since the beginning. He's one of the 2.
I'm excited. These first 2 songs that I'm real excited to jump into the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, guess who their inspiration was?
Radiohead.
Massive Attack.
Ooh,
nice.
Yeah.
Behemoth.
Okay.
Prodigy.
All right.
They're kind of like Porcupine Tree, the Dillinger Escape Plan. That's what this is saying, but whatever. But yeah, that song was good. Like it. Anything else, Mundy?
No, that was it. Just those. That was the one thing I wanted to talk about.
Well, I don't blame you, because this week's album, I don't want to say it was a lot of work because it was hard, but when you have an 18-song record that feels like a concept record in some ways, that's a lot of work.
It was long.
Really.
Definitely long.
Yep. So I'm not even sure how we begin on this. I did take notes for every song. I'm not sure if we want to attack it that way.
It's 18 songs. I don't know if we really want to go through it track by track. We could maybe dive in, we do our opener, our closer, and talk about like key tracks that we enjoyed or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I'm going to start off with a quote from Ashton Knight, who's the lead singer. Apparently he wrote the music too, according to the webpage with the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is about passage parts 1 through 4. And I think with this in mind, the rest of it makes more sense. and I feel like the whole thing kind of falls in line with this idea. He said, the essence of the song, which is Passage, the first one, came to me in a dream, and I've taken that inspiration and woven it through the album. Dreams, our hopes, needs, and desires, and personal journeys in the face of adversity and other obstacles. And I think when you look at the lyrics of a lot of the songs, it definitely makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. I started noticing as I was going through the lyrics, there were repetitions. There was a lot of introspection throughout the record, and time was mentioned a lot. Different kinds of gates and passages were mentioned.
And light.
Light and shadow. Lots of that. Mirrors. Ghosts. And I'm not sure we're talking about physical ghosts, but maybe ghosts in your mind or
echoes, memories.
Exactly.
Like yeah.
And dreams. Those things all are recurring. So you guys all got that too. Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's definitely easy. If you're following along with the lyrics, it's definitely easy to see recurring themes throughout this whole thing. And I think in a way, I don't know. I guess if you're just listening to it and not really paying much attention to it, some of it can start to blend together. But if you're following along with the lyrics, you see those similar themes, but that helps you, I think, look at it more of an entire concept rather than just a bunch of songs that, whatever. Yeah. Whatever I'm trying to say.
I'm calling you.
So the first song, I know we're not going to do every song, but we always talk about the album opener.
Yep.
And for me, I thought this was perfect because this album is harder than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I was not ready for the heaviness here. Listening to Ashton's stuff before, I've not really listened to The Awakening very much at all. So yeah, I was not really prepared for that. But man, this was a great song, great opener.
Yeah, well, you guys know me. I like Tool and Pink Floyd, anything that has like longer songs too. And I thought it was ballsy to like open with something that it was
Almost
one of the longer
minutes.
songs. Yeah. And but it did what I love about those bands. It lets you kind of go on a little bit of a journey with that switch up. I really like when it switched up around the 4-minute mark. But yeah, I think that was a really great way to lay that groundwork for, how this album's going to go. So I thought it was a perfect opener too.
Yeah, the opening riff, it almost sounded like, because it kind of starts with kind of almost like a twangy, sort of clean sounding riff, I think, and it but it's very moody. So the very opening almost reminded me of like the opening of a Slayer song, but then it kicked in and it like that very quickly went away. But yeah, the heaviness is fantastic. Ashton's voice when it comes in, it's just like a warm blanket, and it's like he's got that deep gothy, just it's all the classic like goth bands and industrial stuff that we love. There's a lot of singers that have the same kind of thing, and the riff. I the same thing you said, Tony, like halfway through when that like almost like a galloping riff kind of kicked in, I was like, yeah, this is a good song. I like this one.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said, and it felt like a prog rock song for sure. And then it just felt epic, like we were on a journey, which was cool. And the lyrics, there were 2 different lyrics that I thought really kind of encapsulated the whole record. When he says, under the sound and the silence of age, dreams still ripple on memory's lake. You always hear like taking a trip down memory's lane, but this is on memory's lake. It's rippling it back and forth and comes in and out. I kind of like that concept rather than just going backwards. And then the final part there, sometimes the path's unclear when you're following the dream. And that's how the record ends too, which is awesome. I love that circular aspect that he uses.
Yeah. If we're jumping into the closer there too, I would say that too. I like poetic stuff. I'm a lyric guy. So, but that song was like not the opposite of the opening. But one thing I really loved about the ending was it was quieter a little bit, and it had just those minimal lyrics, and they were perfect lyrics. But I also liked that, it's called The Passage Remains, but he also says the passage part 1 through whatever. And so this one ended with like something that can seemingly continued on. It faded out in the way that maybe you're stepping away from it, but it gave you kind of the feeling that musically something was remaining, So might be reading a little bit too much into it, but that's kind of how I felt.
Yeah. And I think I'm not positive, but it sounded like it was just a marimba that was, like the giant xylophone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's what it sounded like to me was going on in the background, just with his voice softly writing us out, which worked for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a lot. The passage, you got the first song is parts 1 through 4. Later, you got the part 5, which is just kind of like a moody, ethereal kind of instrumental interlude. Mm-hmm. And then the very last track was passage part 6. But it all ties together. I mean, and yeah, like we said, it's the kind of brings it full circle to close it out. And I thought all of that worked together pretty well.
Yeah. I wonder how they sound together, like skipping
I know.
all the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like talking about it now. I wish I would have listened to those 3 songs back to back. I might have to try that when we're done.
I'll try it at work.
Yeah, part 5, with the second version was pretty cool. I had the muffled bass drum, which was nice, and percussion was kind of evident there. And then you could hear Ashton just softly in the background.
Yeah.
So I wish I have to send him some emails. Hey, what did this mean? Okay, Tony, I'm going to ask you this.
Yeah.
2 songs have biblical references with Gabriel and Jericho.
Right.
And so Gabriel, I liked a lot, had a really cool bass groove and everything. But he talks about my heart shaped me as dreams gave me a voice for this resurrection verse. I just can't help but think there is no way that Gabriel is the one who announces God's will to people, that is an accident that he put that in there somehow.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Jericho, clearly, with the walls of Jericho and the Israelites attacking and everything. But in this one, he says it's my Jericho. Is he breaking down his own walls? What did you pick up on anything with those 2?
Well, on Gabriel, I picked up that there was biblical references, but on Gabriel, I kind of just got stuck on, he has a line that says, "I'll learn from this and burn for this, but I believe again." And so I was kind of getting lost in the poetry of the lyrics, So I didn't dive too heavy into that, connecting it biblically beyond the titles.
Yeah. And then maybe there's nothing there. When I saw those 2 and then those lyrics, I was like, there's got to be.
I'm certainly not super well versed on that, but I feel like Ashton is very intentional with what he says and how he writes. So I assume that was probably not an accident.
Yeah. So what I got from Gabriel, especially in terms of the rest of the record, is that he's learning from his past, and he can start again. And the dreams, whatever it was, spoke to him, and the past kind of like the rippling it back and forth kind of taught him, and it's a new me going forward to attack. I don't know. Maybe I missed out on that, but
no,
it's kind of what I grabbed.
Well, you take that and you talk about the theme of passages, that makes sense, that tracks.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's almost like this was intentional the whole way.
I know.
I feel like I just said that.
That guy. Oh, okay. And then never mind. I got one more because I had forgotten about the light above, the pain in my side and thorns of doubt. That it could be more of a Jesus reference.
Yeah. There's definitely some of that in there.
Yeah.
Maybe that has to do with being not born again, but sort of renewed as a person, as an artist. I don't know.
Yeah.
I certainly,
Money.
I don't know what Ashton's religious leanings are there, but he obviously knows some stuff. So if he's making
Yeah,
those
those
kinds
are-
of references,
Yeah.
Those are illusions that I think everybody knows, right?
Sure.
Generally.
Yeah.
Monday, what was your favorite song? What was your banger on this one?
Honestly, probably aside from the first track, passage part 1 through 4, my favorite song, probably track 15, "The Never World."
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like that song. Had a really, really killer groove, and the vocals, I think, rode the line very well of being able to hear them, but not being too far out in front. And he also did some really cool stuff with like some understated whispery vocals that kind of rode right under the groove, and just kind of gave it a really, really cool feel. I like that song a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's lots of good production value on there. Like, and then tell me if you thought this, Jeremy. But there, when I was listening to that, the notes that I took, it reminded me of when I would sit in my bedroom and listen to like early Megadeth and Iron Maiden a little bit, as far as the music goes.
Okay.
It wasn't like a 1-to-1 comparison, but I got I got those vibes, and those were the like cassette tapes that popped up in my head. So
sure.
but yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Stevie, what do you think of?
So is that your number 2?
For me?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So I had like 3 or 4 that really, really stood out. And I think one of the big ones I liked was The Ghost Inside.
Okay.
It had a little heavy, little chuggy guitar, really catchy chorus. Here he's chosen the pen above the knife. I like that a lot.
Yeah, the middle part of that song was really, really fun. I like that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And I was yeah, and here's another instance with The Ghost Inside, like the little voice telling him. I don't know. I like that one a lot. That was a banger. That was a good one. And what I liked about that one is it just slammed into us. And then the next one was another one of my favorites, which was Lullaby.
Yeah.
And I think, Tony, you agree.
Yeah. That's my top track. I had top 3, and Lullaby was my top track. And I just put like, I tried to take notes about it, but at the end of that one, I was like, the sounds, the lyrics, everything, I loved everything about it. It had I don't know if you guys listened to Perfect Circle's Eat the Elephant, but they kind of went like a stripped down piano for some of it. And so this reminded me of a piece of that mixed with like Bauhaus and Swans, which that's like a dream come true for me. But yeah, so it was already up my alley. And that's the, I have like a threshold, and if something makes my playlist on the first couple listens, then I'm going to listen to it work for the year. I keep a playlist that runs all year, and this one made it already. So might have been the first one of 2023 that actually made it. So
okay,
yeah.
I really liked how it started off with the light piano, and then all of a sudden those heavy bass piano notes came in, which was really ominous, and that was and it brought it back into that goth nature, but it was softer. And his voice in this one, it was a heavy song, but it was almost a little playful. I like the way he sang this one.
Yeah, definitely agree on the piano. Anytime for me, if you're trying to, I don't know, create a mood or be kind of dark with the mood, the low end of the piano is, man.
Yeah, you're right.
So there, nothing really beats that, and he used it very well here.
Yeah. How about, did you guys like Solitude?
That was my number 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
What line? Okay, I copied a line, 2 lines over. Tony, did you highlight any lyrics?
I didn't put it in my notes, but I know I loved it lyrically because I put that. I loved the acoustic guitar, and I really liked his voice up front for this, but then nice, like subtle vocal chorusy sounds in the background.
That was my biggest note on this one, was the vocals on this song are just out of this world.
Yeah, super smooth.
Superb. Chef's kiss.
What line did you Chef's kiss?
Jeff's kiss. Not Chef's kiss, Jeff's.
Oh, Jeff's. Okay.
Are you Italian?
No.
What was the
it
what was the line you grabbed, Steve, from that?
the paradoxical lines. You don't need a hammer if you want to be discreet. I thought
Yes.
that's really cool.
I did not. I almost wrote that one down because I remember that a lot.
Very clever. And it was nice having the acoustic guitar here. Like it's heavy, 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 and then we got piano, and then it's heavy, and then acoustic guitar. It was nice the way he changed that throughout. So
Yeah.
I dug that a lot.
Mhm.
And I had I really like the carriage too.
Same. That was my number 3.
I liked it too, but it was not my 3.
I mean, it's right there in the name. So I like the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But the carriage, I mean, the chorus was really, really cool and heavy. Really awesome driving bass and drums. There's kind of a sort of breakdown. I don't know if it's exactly a breakdown, but kind of definitely a part change that feels like a breakdown at like the 2:45 mark. That's really, really cool. I like that song a lot.
I said there was a breakdown too because the drums like pulled up to the forefront, like it totally switched at that point. And I got a Robert Frost vibe from this. Have you read the poem "Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening"?
Years and years ago, I'm sure.
It gave me that vibe where the person, it's heavy snowing or whatever, it's bad, and they've got to keep doing all this stuff. And that was kind of the feeling of the poem where they stop. It's beautiful. It's snowing all around it, but we got miles to go before we sleep. Lots of work to be done. And I got that feeling from this song. It was a good one. I liked it a lot.
And I like that line, and the carriage has a way to go through the heavens and the driving snow. It's just like, I don't know what, sometimes you just like lyrics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't tell you exactly what I think that means, but I liked it.
And it could mean something different to all three of us and him.
Well, that's you said something about asking him what he means, and that's I'm like, he's gonna do the artisty thing and be like, well, what do you think it means?
Right.
Or what does it mean to you?
Yeah, which is fair.
Indeed it is.
So I had, for my number 3, I had The Story Begins, but I also had a question for you guys. When I listened to it on Spotify, it was it was like a double album, 1 through 9, 1 through 9.
Yes.
And so I thought it was interesting that the second, you didn't?
No, it was 18 songs.
Okay. So like back in the day for us, it'd be like a double disc, right? Like the Fragile.
Right.
Yep. This is disc 2.
So it's interesting that the story begins at the beginning of the second part, as far as that title goes. But I really love the song, and I like the change up in the music, and then I don't know if it's necessarily a scream, but his more intense vocals in that were spot on. It was awesome.
It's very cool. I think it's very easy for Ashton to slide into a pocket. I mean, he's got that deep, baritone, gothy, smooth thing. But yes, I agree with you 100% on the vocals on that. When he pushes and kind of, I don't know, I guess for lack of a better term, when he kind of rocks out a little more, I mean, it sounded fantastic. I had more of that.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. I said that he really stretched his vocals was the notes that I had. And I think the break you're talking about is where he says begin, and then it breaks and goes back to soft. Like it builds up, we hit that, and then it kind of chills again.
It does. Yeah, that's one of the things I really liked about this song was the build. And then, it builds and builds and builds and then goes off, and then it just kind of falls down like real nice, kind of to go out. And I mean, a lot of this song, it almost feels like a little menacing, a little scary, a little intense.
Yeah.
So really, really well done.
I agree.
For me, the lyric of the album, which for me kind of encapsulates the whole thing, is, and the therapy's the road we've taken.
Yes.
Therapy is learning from your past. I like that. I thought that was cleverly done.
For sure.
And that was in the song All Is Gray, which I thought was another good one. That one really had a post-punk vibe. The guitar on that one I thought was a little bit different than some of the other songs, and put me in that sweet spot, mid-'80s.
For sure. My line of the album was, I'm too old to feel this way and too young to die. off of Light Above. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really like where I feel like I'm at in my life.
I have a lot of that going on because I went and helped at the comic shop yesterday. So I'm like really my quads are very sore today just from bending and squatting, and I'm like, man, like I'm old.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Mine goes a little bit more in the direction of like I'm too old to feel this way. Like that Christina Mayer that I like. Like
Mhm.
I'm reading basically like poetry that I would be really into at early college too. It's
Mhm.
well written. I'm not saying that, but like I'm 49 years old, been married for a long time, and I still gravitate towards that. I feel like I'm too old to really get into this, but I'm too young to die. So let's just keep reading.
There was one thing I wanted to mention, see if you guys noticed this or caught, the same thing on the song Tactile.
Mm-hmm.
The piano does this really cool thing. It's just the way he's playing it. It's kind of staccato, but it almost sounds like the piano itself is saying tactile, tactile.
Cool.
Did not notice that.
And I don't know. I was like, well, that's kind of cool. And it's real haunting. It makes it like sound real haunting. It's just a really cool. I don't even know if it's intentional or if it's just I'm weird or whatever, but
no. And I said that it gave me the feeling of fear of the unknown, which what you're saying is, Lee, if that's the message, I don't know what it is, but for me it was, then the music led me to that. So
yeah.
it's exactly it.
Yeah. I think it's both intentional and you are weird, Jeremy.
Thank you. I'll take that.
I'd agree.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Good enough.
Yes.
Oh man, you know what we said? We're not going to do every song. We just went through almost every song. There's a few we didn't get, but
yeah.
I'll say this though, there was no stinker on the album, and I never felt like, oh, this is your middle filler. Never had that. So
right.
I think
yeah. I agree. There was a couple I didn't really have much to say, but it wasn't because I didn't like them. It was just because like there's a couple that were like, oh, this is like a pretty old school like goth rocker song, and there's a couple of them like that where it's just like I didn't really feel like I needed to say much more about it. Like I was digging it, and that's about it.
Same, yeah.
All right.
And I think Jeremy mentioned it was, well, I can't remember which one of you mentioned, but it was arranged really well in terms of letting it flow. So I never got bored because here's yet another piano intro. They did a good job of switching it up.
Yeah, they did a good job of. I think the track listing is dynamic enough that it keeps your attention. Like, they have like a kind of a balls to the wall is wrong, but as far as this sound goes, a balls to the wall rocker, and then kind of lullaby, and then and the songs are really well. They're very well arranged in the fact that they kind of blend in. One song blends into the next song, and they do a lot of, the ending of this song kind of trickles into the next song, and then you're off on the next adventure. So yeah, it's very, very well arranged, and the track listing works.
Yes, totally agree.
I think you felt like you were on a journey.
Yeah,
a little bit.
All right, it's that time, Mr. T-Bags, for you to rate the album. Final word, and will you listen again?
Well, definitely listen again. I keep wavering between like 3.75 and 4 because, like Jeremy said, there's no stinker, or like you said, there's no stinkers, and there's no like, there's nothing bad on this at all. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna have to give it that. Like, it's in that range, 3.75 and 4, and listening again is an absolute yes.
Good, Mr. Mundy.
I'm pretty much exactly in that same position. 3.75, 4. I mean, it's only a 5-point scale that we use, so I very rarely do I get to a 4.5 or a 5. So 3.75 to 4, somewhere in that range, depending on the day, probably where I would land. I will definitely be listening to this again, and I've not really listened to The Awakening that much, so I'll probably go back and listen to some older stuff too, and see what it's all about. I love Ashton's voice. I don't know, man. There's just something really, really soothing about it. And I hate him so much because he talks that way too. So, and
Yeah.
I mean, he was wonderful when we had him on the show. He's a super nice guy, and he talks that way. And I'm like, God, how can you have that voice just all the time?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I will definitely listen to this some more, and probably go back and listen to some more.
Yeah, it was kind of intimidating, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I got this terrible nasally voice, and then there's Mr. Cool over there.
He also the way he carries himself and the way he speaks, and he's from South Africa, so that's already something.
Right.
And it's just like man, I feel like such a moron sitting here. I really like that song, and it was cool.
I can't even.
Do you remember that time?
Yeah, I can't even give a name at a restaurant. I mumble so bad, and then they're like, "What's your order for?" And I'm like, "Tony," and they're like, "Toby, your order's ready." I'll take it. So,
yeah, I get Jamie a lot.
Do you? Okay.
Jamie, no.
We all suck.
Yeah.
Good thing we're doing a podcast that relies on us speaking.
All right, Stevie.
I'm going to
what's your
tell you,
rating?
Jeremy, when you get off this tonight, go listen to The Dark Romantics.
Okay.
It is so good. It is like not just for their band, but it is a overall just amazing song that everybody should know. It is amazing. So
Cool.
dig that one. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5, and loved it. I thought it had a lot of variation, a lot of heavy, a lot of light. But what I love about Ashton is his writing, and Waiting for a Voice is when we had him on, and I bought that book of poetry that he had and some writings. He is, and you said it, Jeremy, very intentional. There's nothing here that is happenstance. He just has a gift with words. He is a poet, and reading, like when you listen to the songs, just like I was working today and cleaning or whatever, and I was listening, and it's one thing, but when you sit down and you read it, it's the poetry of it. And that's what I love about Ashton's work. So 4 out of 5, I will definitely listen again. There are some I will listen to more than others, but like Tony, Lullaby is absolute gold. That would make a playlist any day of the week.
Yep.
I got something to add on top of what you said there. You're talking about his writing and all of that, and his, poetic writing. As a teenage boy, I felt, I was into everything super dark and moody, and I'm tortured teen, and what I thought I was a poet, and I have so much bad poetry in the other room just waiting for someone to see and make fun of. But I was a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, still am. I mean, honestly, and so I mean, this definitely scratches that itch. The voice, the writing, all of it, the music, it works so well for that. I think, and speaking of Robert Frost, we talk about two paths diverging. I went this way and became Metalhead Mundy. I very probably was not a stretch for me to go this way and become some kind of super goth dude, but I mean, it's all in there, it's all in there, and I love it. But yeah. And while we're talking about Edgar Allan Poe, one more recommendation: watch The Pale Blue Eye on Netflix.
It's on my list.
It's fantastic. I loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
You can read you guys again. I keep this desk. So this desk is way too small. This is like a kid's desk, so I keep hitting my knees on it. But
I think your other path is Makeup Monday. You could have been like eyeliner and
Yeah. I mean, it all comes with the goth stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
A little bit of guy liner,
Yep,
Mm.
goes a long way.
Fantastic. Awesome, guys. That was fun. Next week, we're not sure exactly what we're doing yet, but we will post that middle of the week so everybody knows what's going on. If anybody wants to find you, T-Bags, where may they find you?
On the Wanderings and Wool Gathering Facebook page.
Okay. Any place else?
I mean, if you want to come to my house, but I'm not giving you the address. So if you find me,
I'll
I'll
be
cook for you. Other than that,
I'll be there in 10 minutes.
yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Metalhead Mundy, where can we find you?
You can find me cleaning up the streets of Kokomo on a daily basis. But other than that,
Mhm.
I like that. It's kind of vague. You don't know if I'm a vigilante or a street sweeper or what I'm doing. But cleaning up the city. So if you can't find me there, just find me on Instagram at Metalhead Mundy.
I'm Foggy's pal. Find me there. There you have it.
All right.
So anyway, next week we're going to talk about music. That's all we know, right?
Fair enough.
That's all we know.
Sounds good to me.
All right, everybody. Until next Sunday night at 7 o'clock, we'll see you then. Bye now.
Bye.